seasons. Or I think parts of maybe even 3 different seasons, 2013 to 2015, because of injuries where he got to sit out. But Stafford set the record. He's the only quarterback for a full season to complete 60% or more of his passes in every game. And he gets so much slack. People want to doubt him and talk about his release angles and the choices he makes. And he's won Detroit games. He's helped change the culture in Detroit. We've done much better since he's been in town. He's dealt with inconsistent offensive lines and offensive coordinator changes, things that all teams go through. Now, the teams that you see consistently winning, they don't go through those changes as often. But when you have a franchise that's been down and out, that's trying to fight back, it's smart to go, okay, you know what, this isn't working. We need to move in a different direction instead of continuing to go down a line of mediocrity. I was so happy when we moved away from Scott Linehan. He had become predictable, as you hear different teams and players saying about offenses around the league. Everybody knew what we were going to do under Scott Linehan. Now, Jim Bob Cooter's here. Great introduction last season. Came in, took over the offense. We became more efficient. We scored more points. Had less turnovers. Quarterback played well. And you saw the things happening. Sure, we didn't have all the big shots down the field that were going on early in Stafford's career. We had a different offense then. Cooter wasn't going to come in and in a week of taking over and 8 weeks of a season be able to put in a full offense. He was almost doing it backyard football style, schoolyard style, from feel, from knowledge of playing the position. And that's great. I want to see how that plays out. I want to see how him and Stafford are going to mix together and make this thing go. He's been saying things like, if we need to slow down and play slow, that's what we're going to do. If we need to score a lot of points, we want to be the team that can score a lot of points. I would love to see a multifaceted offense, one that can deke and dunk, go deep if we have to, run the ball. Sure, that echoes what New England has been able to do on both offense and defense. They're a very adaptable team. But think about that, Lions fans. For how long have we struggled? If we can truly get to an adaptable team to where guys can play multiple positions, especially along the defensive front line, along your offensive line, so pieces can be interchangeable to where if somebody gets hurt, we're going to be okay. I still don't see the plan. I don't see the direction they're moving necessarily, but I'm liking what I'm hearing. I'm liking that you're hearing these different competitions going on in OTAs, that there's different leaders starting to speak up. That guys are saying, you know, I'm not a number 2. I never thought of myself as a number 2. We have a great battle at receiver. I think we'll be deep at receiver if everybody's healthy. Are we going to have the big play all-world Calvin Johnson? No. We're not going to have that guy on the team this year. He's not there. Do we have a lot of guys that can make plays? Yep. And will it be hard to cover all of them? It sure will. Especially if they come up with some creative ways to use them. With Tate and Marvin Jones coming in, who was a number 2 in Cincinnati, but face it, he made some plays. He's a 6'1", 6'2" guy. He played at Cal. He's intelligent. Okay? He seems grounded. Now, the idea that he's anywhere near number 1, that's silly to me. He's not. I'm going to be real about that. He's not a number 1 receiver. We don't have a true number 1 on the roster. It's almost similar to like Seattle's receiving core. There's not a true number 1 out there. But Golden Tate, great guy after the catch. Jones is going to make some plays and can get out and open in space. T.J. Jones should be healthy this year. And I think now a second year coming off of injury, a second year now with NFL competition, you're going to be able to see him take advantage of his speed. You saw what he could do a little bit in the return game last year. He did have a couple fumble issues. I'm sure he's working on that. Corey Fuller, it's great to see him out there. It's great to see him play special teams, but I don't know if he makes it through the competition. Maybe Lee, the rookie out of Baylor, ends up getting that last spot, especially now that he's been hurt. Low production, not a lot of versatility in Fuller. I could see where Quinn might move away from him. At running back, who knows what's going to happen at running back? Abdullah with this shoulder surgery, he should be coming back healthy and be okay. How is that going to affect his development and his fumbling issues? Right now, they're saying he's coming into camp as the number one guy, but with him being out, Riddick's getting number one reps. We're hearing Riddick should be more involved in the running game this year. That'd be great. That makes us less predictable. Instead of him only coming out on passing downs and either he gets the ball or doesn't, but they know it's going to be a pass. It'd be great to see him get some runs right off the center, right off the guard. Get some of that up the middle stuff just to throw them off so they don't just know right off the bat, hey, it's going to be a pass. He may not go into a route, but this is a passing play. And that is it most of the time when he's on the field. Now we got Zach Zener. I love Zach Zener. I love how he's a hard-nosed working type of guy. He's not a true fullback because he's not, in my opinion, big enough to be a true fullback. Could you use him as that position and maybe sneak some catches or some runs into him? Sure. Is he going to be our short down back? I don't know if he's big enough for that either, even though his hard running style. Yes, I like the Pitt coming out of college. I liked all the 2,000-yard seasons he had coming out of college. I liked how he was playing last season before he got hurt, honestly. He was running hard. He was hitting the holes. He clearly knew how the offense was working, and he was doing his thing. As good as anybody who was running it for us at that point in the season was. So what is he going to do? We'll have to see. We brought in Stephen Ridley. He's familiar with Bob Quinn from New England. I don't have high hopes from Stephen Ridley. I really don't. He's not a power back to me. I know everybody's like, oh, he runs up the middle. That's what he does. That's what he did at LSU. That's what he did in New England. To me, he's a Shane Vereen type. You know, he's that bigger, let me catch the ball. If I get in some space, if I happen to make that first guy miss, I can do some things. Otherwise, he doesn't create his own space. He's not the big power back who's going to run somebody over and keep going. He would be great maybe behind, no offense, Lions fans, but Dallas's offensive line. A big run-blocking offensive line that is already a solid unit, and we know what they can do. Now, our offensive line, don't get me wrong, I like the pieces that we're putting together right now mostly. We're going to have to see how these rookies play out. I think Larry Warford comes back this season, has a much better season. Hopefully he stays healthy, and those little leg injuries and quad and hamstring issues he was having last season, ankle problems, will be past him. Okay? Laken Tomlinson is going to have to come out and do something this year. Last season, to me, he was a bust. He didn't play well at all. He got bull rushed and knocked back. He wasn't the power guy in the run game that I was expecting. They compared him to Warford coming out of college, so I had very high hopes for him. He was the ACC Athlete of the Year as a football player. Clearly, that was more because of how intelligent he is. So we're going to have to see how that goes. Let's see how Taylor Decker and the Riley Reef situation plays out. If Decker can really go out there and beat him out for that position and he's truly our best chance, let the boy play. Let him go out there and play. He's going to have to face Ansah every day in practice. That's going to make him better. That'll make him ready for some of the other defensive ends in the league that are top-notch pass rushers. And if that helps us better on the right side with Rife, great. The rookie center, Glasgow, if he's going to compete with Swanson, if he beats Swanson out, great. Swanson, we drafted him a few seasons ago because he was supposedly the best center in the SEC. Well, he hasn't, last season when he finally took over for Iola, demonstrated that he was the best center. He, to me, had a bad season last year too. Now, could he be great in relief and come in and spell the guard because he can play some guard and spell the center? Sure, I'd love to see him in that role. That would be great. That would give us some depth. So that's a position battle that I'm looking at. A position that I'm going to really like to watch is Nada helping Robinson out. Nada's going to teach Robinson how to rush the passer in the NFL. That's where Robinson's going to get his pass rush from, is being mentored by Haloti Nada. The rest of our defensive line, we need depth there. That's a position of need for us. We'll see how that goes with different guys being cut throughout training camp. Maybe we still pick somebody up. But we're young at defensive line. We're very young. We're very inexperienced. We have a lot of positions in need, like a lot of teams do. We need to sign Ansah. We can't let him walk. We can't let him hit the open market because we're not going to be able to match what other teams will pay for his services. We need to get him wrapped up as soon as possible and not lose another one of our stars because we didn't want to pay the contract. We need to look at tight end. We need a true return man. We can use some guard depth. Is this rookie Dahl going to step in and be able to play guard and tackle like they think? Defensive line. We need linebacker depth. We need another safety who's going to step up and play next to Quinn. Right now, I don't see a starter. I see a bunch of backups, one of which who's going to get the starting role. I don't see Killebrew, even though he's a hard hitter coming out of Utah State, being a guy who's going to be able to start right away. He's going to be a special teams juggernaut probably right away. So you look at how we're going to compete in the NFC North this year. It's going to be a tight division. I think you're going to find two teams probably in the playoffs and two teams that could end below 500, but mostly because we're going to beat each other up. Green Bay's offense is going to be back this season. Minnesota has got a bunch of young studs. Chicago, I don't think Chicago's in the mix for one of the two positions. We'll have to see how some of their offensive weapons play in this season, how Kevin White comes in and plays this season after missing his rookie year. How Alshon Jeffrey, if he can stay healthy. How they do without Matt Forte in the backfield. That's going to change things for them. Can Danny Trevathan, the free agent linebacker, stay healthy on his wounded knee? I don't think so. I think the two playoff teams come from one of the three teams, Detroit, Minnesota, or Green Bay. And I think either Green Bay or Detroit will miss the playoffs, with Minnesota being a wild card. I don't see Minnesota winning the division this year. But I do see them going somewhere between 9-7, 11-5, and getting the wild card spot. I think the winner of our division this year goes 12-4. And it works out for us because we have a pretty easy schedule this year because of our poor performance last season. We really can take advantage, especially the first half of the season, and having that late bye. We face a few playoff teams here and there, especially because of our division. We face a lot of division games early. We're on the road again, 4 of, I think, the first 5 games of the season. So sure, it's going to be a tough start. But you get through that with the late bye. Guys get healthy late in the season. All of a sudden, you're good to go. So, official predictions right now at OTAs. I'm going to make these throughout the offseason. I'll make one at the beginning of the regular season. Of course, I'm taking Detroit to win the division at 12-4. At worst, Detroit I have at 9-7. Okay, at 9-7, we don't make the playoffs. Coming in second in the division, I have Minnesota. Minnesota will come in second in the division and get that wild card playoff spot. Green Bay I have coming in third, unless in the scenario where we go 9-7, they end up with the 12-4. Don't ask me how 2 games switch. It's not because we sweep them or they sweep us. But that's how I feel about it. I'll update you guys throughout the week. Come Wednesday, I will announce the launch of the app. I thank you guys for tuning in and ending your week with me again. I really appreciate everybody listening. I'm going to wrap it up quick again because I'm running out of time here. Have a good week, everybody. Until next time, be real.